Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm bringing you an in-depth review of the new Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Foundation. It's a full coverage foundation with a flawless, matte, long-lasting finish. It comes in 44 shades and retails for $44. You get the standard 1 fluid ounce. The foundation is vegan and cruelty-free and claims to be a hydrating, long-lasting, weightless skincare hybrid foundation suitable for all skin types. It also says that it's sweat-proof, waterproof, humidity-proof, and transfer-resistant. And let me tell you, I really put that to the test over these 4 days. If you're new to my channel, my skin type is normal leaning dry, and my skin concerns are redness, dark circles, texture, enlarged pores, and fine lines. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's take a look at day 1. I picked up the shade Cool 2. The foundation itself comes in this really nice frosted glass bottle, and then it has the really nice rose gold packaging on top that matches the Flawless filter. This foundation does come with a pump, so I'm just going to pump a little bit out on my palette right here. 3 squeezes to get a little bit out, and this is what one pump looks like. It is a thin formula. You can see it running down the palette just a little bit. They say that a little bit goes a long way. This foundation does recommend that you apply the magic cream first, so I did go ahead and apply that. I do think off the bat this is a really good shade match for me, and I'm really excited about how nice it looks. I've gone ahead and zoomed you in so you can get a closer look at how the foundation applied. The finish really does look like skin, and I'm so happy with how it looks now that it's been applied. There are some areas that I'm not so happy with that I will try to work up, but I'm so happy overall with how it looks right now. I don't think that it's full coverage right off the bat. I do still see some stuff coming through. It's not sitting great on my nose, but it is sitting better than some other foundations have. So I'm going to go into the Beauty Blender and try to blend on top and see if that helps a little bit. That does look like it helped. It doesn't look heavy or cakey when I applied it with the Beauty Blender. It's 8:41. I'm probably going to call check-in time about 8:30. I will be doing a 10-hour wear test. I'm not going to be doing concealer or anything. I think that it did a really nice job underneath my eyes. I may just put a little bit of Hourglass powder just to set it underneath my eyes. I really feel like it's absorbed into the skin. I can touch my face and it doesn't feel sticky or tacky. I'm so excited about this foundation. I have always been really impressed with her base products. The footage is missing from the end of day 1. Things I liked day 1 were how it applied, the natural finish that it gave, and overall it felt very skin-like. Things I didn't like about the foundation on wear test day 1 was that it wore down really awkwardly. It wore down to like a light or medium coverage foundation. It looked patchy. It definitely wasn't long wearing, and I didn't think that applying it over the magic cream did anything for the foundation. Welcome to day 2. We are going to see how this foundation holds up against the various claims that it makes. Is this foundation sweat proof? Is this foundation transfer proof? Is this foundation humidity proof? And is this foundation waterproof? I just don't feel like it was super full coverage, so I am going to try applying a little bit more than I did. Maybe it had something to do with how little I actually applied yesterday, so I may have added a little too much this time. Okay, so I applied a little too much today, I guess to make up for the fact that I applied too little yesterday. I did go and wet my Beauty Blender to see if I can press this in a little bit because this is looking a little rough. I guess this is where the foundation is going to sit today. It's a little bit on the heavy side, so tomorrow I know I really don't need as much as I went in today, but I definitely do need more than I used on my first impression day 1 wear test. I recorded all of my thoughts and realized that I never actually pressed record, so I guess we're back to that, Katie. Congratulations. I'm going to zoom you in and talk a little bit more about what I think is going on my face. So the name of the game today was covering the redness, the texture, the breakouts. I do think that today, even though we went a bit heavy-handed, it's sitting pretty nicely and not emphasizing any texture. I think that my redness was nicely covered. I don't see any major clinging to dry patches that I did see yesterday. On camera, I do recognize though that it's picking up a bit heavy. It's mostly dried down, but not fully dried down yet, which is interesting because yesterday it dried down pretty quickly, but yesterday I also used a lot less foundation than I did today, so that might just be, again, because I went in pretty heavy-handed. I do like that it's not looking cakey. Well, while it does look a bit heavy and there's a difference, it looks like makeup, but it's not building anywhere. It's not sitting anywhere excessively like cake normally would. I think that overall, I'm still happy with how the foundation is wearing. So the foundation's been on for about 4 hours. The longer that I've worn it today, since I first put it on, even up until right now, it really reminds me of like a My Skin but better, and I can't believe it because it's a full coverage foundation, and especially with how heavy-handed I was this morning when I first put it on, I can't believe how fantastic it looks. I do feel like I've got a filter on my skin. My pores look great. The longer that I've been wearing it, the more it's been just melting right into my skin. I worked out. I did a pretty intense cardio workout to try to get some sweat going. I've been outside in the 82-degree heat, and it's only made the foundation look better. So far, it's holding up great. I can't believe how amazing it looks. I'm getting ready to say that this is a pretty awesome foundation. My fiance Alex has very graciously agreed to help me with this next part. He's very excited because how often do you get to throw water on your significant other at their request? Before we do that, I'm just going to quick do a transfer test and see if I can get any makeup off on my towel. And my towel is still completely clean. It's been sweat-proof, humidity-proof, and now it's transfer-proof. We have our glass of water. I hope this goes well. Okay, that was a full cup of water. I wasn't wet enough the first time. Our daughter wanted to participate after she saw my fiance pour the water on me, so she also had a chance to pour some water on me. +1 for the mascara not running. I think that is pretty super because I wasn't so sure that Lash Paradise could actually stand the test since it's not cry proof. I want to throw in there too that I'm also wearing the Brow MVP from Fenty Beauty, and that's supposed to be waterproof. That looks like it held up pretty well too, but what everyone really wants to know is how did the Charlotte Tilbury foundation hold up? I think it looks pretty good. I definitely look wet. I'm not so much enjoying this kind of wet. I think I just appear to look wet, not to actually be wet. But the foundation doesn't appear to be dripping off of me. It doesn't look like I've lost any coverage. It doesn't look like there's any kind of streaking. I did get some makeup come off on the towel this time. It is wet, so of course I expected a little bit of transfer with wet makeup. I think overall she did pass the waterproof test. On day 3, I used the Super Sponge, and it was by far my favorite application. I feel like my makeup looked fantastic when it was applied. It looked great throughout the whole day. Alex commented on it and said that he really loved the way that my makeup looked. I do feel between the 3 brushes and the Super Sponge that I've tried applying that the Super Sponge did apply it the best, despite the recommendation from Charlotte Tilbury being to use a foundation brush. I'm super excited because I'm going to be doing a mostly full face of Charlotte Tilbury makeup. I cannot wait to see how all of this performs together. I'm going to be starting with the Wonder Glow Primer. You might notice that I look a little bit different. Thank you for noticing. I went in and got my hair cut the same day that I did the Super Sponge wear test, which was phenomenal, and talk about waterproof, especially when you're getting your hair dyed. Fantastic. I've learned for the past couple of days to work in small sections with small amounts of product. I will be using the Sigma F80 again today. It's definitely evened out my skin tone as well as covered the redness. With this foundation, I don't wear concealer, so I am really working to get it to cover my dark circles. It looks really nice. I think that using the brush today and a more concentrated amount of foundation really helped. I zoomed you in to get a little bit of a better look. It's not sitting really well on my nose. It's clinging a little bit get to the dry patches surrounding the blemishes. I'm going to have this on for at least 10 hours. I'm hoping for a little bit more. I'm really happy with how my look today turned out. It's 7:47. It has been on for almost 12 hours. I am a face toucher, so it does wear off a lot where I touch my face, but something that I do really want to point out is how it does not wear well over my breakout. It clings to the dry patches, but it also wears very uncomfortably. I really like how the foundation wears everywhere else on my face, and I do think that if I didn't have a breakout going on, that it wouldn't be nearly as irritated along my jawline. It makes my face itch, but only where the breakout is. Otherwise, I love everything else about it. The other thing that I want to mention about how my foundation wore today is that I put the Charlotte Tilbury finishing powder on top. I hadn't powdered the rest of the days that I've worn this. I don't like the way that it looked today at all. I do love the powder itself. I don't think it paired well with this foundation, which I think is really interesting because it does say that it pairs very well together. I don't find that to be the case. I found that it looked very powdery. I thought that it didn't wear nearly as well or as long as it has on previous days. I don't think it's hydrating, and while it's relatively long wearing, I feel like it went from being full coverage to being medium low coverage. Like, I see so much of my cheeks coming through. I see a lot of my nose coming through more. My chin is coming through all the way, but I think that that's very odd that it doesn't pair well with other items in the Charlotte Tilbury line. While this technically was a 4-day wear test, today could be considered day 5 since I'm also wearing it on my face today. I used the First Aid Beauty Ultra Repair Hydrating Primer, and I mixed the Wonder Glow Primer in with a pump of the Charlotte Tilbury foundation. I think that the glow that you get from the Wonder Glow Primer mixed with the natural satin finish of the foundation really makes this nice luminosity. It gives this really great radiance, healthy glow to it. I did put on some Flawless Filter, but honestly, I probably didn't even need it. While I have had to cut my wear test down, I am very confident that I tested this foundation thoroughly. There are a lot of things that I like about this foundation, but there are also some things that I don't like about it. I'm going to start with what I don't like about this foundation. First of all, for being a hydrating foundation, it's not very hydrating. I definitely think that you need to go in with a heavy moisturizer, or you need to mix in a hydrating product. You definitely need a hydrated base before applying this foundation. I also found that it clung to a few dry patches. While it's not necessarily a deal breaker for me because you can mix in a hydrating product, I do feel like it's worth mentioning. It doesn't wear well on my nose, and I know that a lot of foundations don't, but that's still a con for me because I would like to find a foundation that does look nice on my nose. I also take issue with the claim that it's long wearing. I don't find that it's long wearing or long lasting. It looks really nice throughout the day, but for being a full coverage foundation, by the end of the night, it wears down to a light, maybe medium coverage, and as it wears down, it does start to get a bit patchy around the jawline. I did notice some patchiness around my cheeks as the foundation wore down. I do think that if you're pairing it with the right products, you probably won't experience that kind of breakdown, but I do think, again, that the claim long wearing or long lasting is a bit optimistic. Something else to note about this foundation: it applies high coverage. It doesn't apply full coverage. It doesn't go on opaque, so you definitely will need to build it up in some areas. Now for the things that I do like about this foundation. Literally everything else. I think that it is probably the best foundation that I've ever used. I know that's a really bold claim, especially after everything that I said is a con about the foundation, but none of those things are things that would stop me from enjoying wearing it. I love the finish. It's a natural satin. It's not overly dewy. I can definitely add in dewy product to make it more luminous. It can absolutely just be a standalone. As you saw in wear test day 2, it melts into the skin and looks very natural. I absolutely think that it wears like a second skin. Despite over applying it, it never felt like a mask. It never sat heavy. It never felt heavy. It was definitely lightweight. It dries down really nicely. It doesn't transfer. I can blend products on top of it without needing to set. I never had to go in with concealer. The foundation covered my dark circles. Alex had complimented me every day that I've worn this foundation, saying it doesn't even look like I'm wearing foundation, which is really interesting because this is a full coverage foundation. All the other full coverage foundations that I've tried have always looked very makeup-y, very heavy, very much like you're definitely wearing a very thick coat of makeup. Truly, this foundation wears so well and so lightweight. I feel like this is something that I could go through very quickly because I truly don't ever want to use another foundation. I wholeheartedly recommend it. I think that if you're looking for a My Skin But Better, but still full coverage, this is definitely worth checking out. Let me know down below, have you tried it? What are your favorite Charlotte Tilbury products? I'm not drawn to her eyeshadow formula, but her base products have always been outstanding. In case you missed it, hi, my name is Katie, and you can catch me most often on Instagram. Don't miss an upload. Subscribe and ring the bell so you'll be notified on Sundays and Wednesdays when I upload. Thank you for being here, and I'll catch you on Sunday with a this or that battle between the Milk Flex Stick and the Bare Minerals Complexion Rescue Hydrating Foundation Stick.